Okay, Assalamualaikum and good morning. We will start in roughly 2.5 minutes. Forty-nine, 48. Okay, 48 devices. All right, if you are sharing same device, thank you. Okay, all right. This week, we will cover AAA components in computer security. Okay, authentication, authorizations, and accountability. Okay, and for this week, we will go through two parts. The first part is about authentication, and the second part about the authorization. Okay, and you might ask me why we don't cover availability. Since availability is a straightforward, accountability. Okay, since accountability is a straightforward, which based on recording whatever activities or action being conducted by the user. Okay, and we use that to provide evidence. Whatever mechanism that we have employed successfully implemented security policy. So from that point of view, it's quite straightforward. Okay, and in Windows environment, we call it event. In Linux environment, we call it log, L-O-G. Okay, in general, we call it journal. The learning outcome for the first part is you need to know what is identification, what is authentication, and okay, the process to authenticate, we have about 3 methods. Okay, you need to know all these three methods, and then we will cover single sign-on that will manage all the password. And the new part that I just add yesterday, multi-factor authentication, MFA. Why we need to implement that and how it been done. Okay, so what is information security? Okay, information security can be defined as the protection against unauthorized usage and modifications of data and information. Okay, as I been explained last week, what we need to do is just change computer to information. All right. Okay. If you can remember the first or the second words, okay, unauthorized. So it is crucial for us to identify the authorized user. Okay, so why we need to verify and validate the authority, the authorization of the user, because after that we will assign whatever actions that being defined by a policy on that user. Okay, I'm talking about authorization. So before we can do authorization, we need to authenticate the user. Authentication is a process of verifying and validating the authority of the user. There are two processes, okay, identifications and authentication. Okay, all right. The first process is, or you can say process or stage, STAGE. Okay, identification process is to establish identity of someone or something. Okay, you can remember that in CSC520, okay, in OS, we do learn RPC, remote procedure call, where some tasks being divided with other computer, client and server. So it is crucial to establish identity of the computer. If you can recall the fourth threat, usurpation. Okay, when we able to establish identity of the computer, we can avoid the usurpation threat. Okay, so identification is to establish unique identity of the user, someone or something. After we establish the identity, we need to verify and validate the identity. We have to know that, we have to make sure that that person, that someone, that something is what they claim to be. Okay? If I'm say I am Wanya bin Wan Hussein, I need to give a proof to you. How? By showing you my staff ID. You can claim you are Shami or whatever your names are. Okay, to prove it, you need to show me your student ID. Why? Because identity is a parameter to determine authorization. Because we assign to privilege, okay, on certain user. For example, A can access read, write on object O. B only able to access, perform, read on the object O. So the system must make sure that A and B actually who they are. Okay, And then this particular activity must be recorded in terms of event, log, or journal, okay, to provide evidence that all the mechanisms being implemented are following the security policy. This process, we call it accountability. Right? You see here? That is my mouse. Right. Here, these two. These are the authentication, okay, which can divide into two sub-process or stages, okay, identification and authorization, and then, authentication. And then once we verify and validate the authenticity of the user, of someone or something, we can assign appropriate actions, appropriate privilege to that particular person or user. We call it authorization. Once it performed, it must be recorded. All the activity must be recorded in event, log, or journal. The process, we call it accountability. Okay, this is example of ID, right? You can see through this one. Okay, I will not discuss this in detail, right? Just want to allow you to see this is not the latest one. Okay, the latest version, we been, they call it embossed. My card actually being embossed with your photo here. All right, that is the latest one. Okay, main objective, right? So Alice and Bob, okay, are both honest. Okay, let's say if Alice and Bob are both honest, Alice should able to successfully authenticate herself. Mean, okay, Bob can recognize Alice is Alice. That is the process of authentication. Okay, means the correct, okay, identification or the correct validation or of the verification. Okay. Next objective. Charles cannot use Alice ID to present himself as Alice to Bob. Means we must provide, okay, identification, must provide impersonation protection. We must avoid any threat of impersonation. It falls under deception threats. Okay, the process of the verification and validation, okay, must block any information related to the process being revealed to the third party. In this case is Charles. Charles shouldn't know Alice's password. Okay, Alice's password. Right? So now, okay, this particular process cannot be transferred from Alice to Bob. Sorry, from Alice to Charles. Okay, means Alice password only used for Alice purpose only. Charles need to use his password. So whatever transpire between Alice and Bob, okay, child shouldn't know. All right? All of these requirements must be strong. It means must be upheld by the system. Okay, whatever number of authentications involved, how many times Alice need to log in, how frequent Alice need to log in, maybe 500 a day or 5 times a day or none at all. Okay, and then it also able to sustain the volume of the high volume of authentication itself. Okay, example, 100,000 authentication process a day, 10,000, 1,000, or even one. So any amount of process will not able to transfer any information. It must fulfill the requirement of correctness, okay, impersonation preventions, and protection against transferability. Okay, strong requirement, zero knowledge. Okay, so what it means, zero knowledge? Okay, this is example. Alice is authentication, authenticatee. Okay, user yang akan di authenticate. Okay, Bob is the authenticator. Orang yang akan authenticate. Alright, so now Alice as a student say that she know how to solve the assignment. So what is the proof? Alice need to show the solution of the assignment, which Bob doesn't need to know. There is zero knowledge protocol. It means that authenticator shouldn't know what is the password for the respective authenticatee or user. User themselves need to provide evidence that they are who they are. Okay, so now is Alice is a user and Bob is a system. Bob shouldn't know Alice's password. Alice must provide evidence to Bob that Alice is Alice, not Charles. There is zero knowledge of the protocol. Okay, so the process of authenticity ask for identity means we need to ask for username or user ID, because username and user ID is associated to individual user. It must be unique. It must be unique. So what the system should do, system should verify the availability of that user, check the identity of the user is known or not, whether Alice is part of the user or not. Then we ask for password. Okay, forget about share secret. At this stage, forget about that, right? Then what we need to do, okay, to compare, okay, the password that being entered by Alice and the password that being stored by the system. If they match, means that user is Alice. If they mismatch, mean that user is not Alice. As simple as that. Okay? How to authenticate user? How to check the authenticity of the user? Something you know, or share secret like password, like passphrase, like OTP, PIN, PIN, personal identification number, okay, one-time transaction PIN, puzzle, and so on. Okay, something we have, like your student ID, like your debit card, like your my card. Okay, right? Okay, something who you are, who something you are. Okay, who you are, what you have, and what we share. Okay, example, biometrics. We will discuss detail towards the end of the sem. Okay, what is a good password? Okay, long password. Why we need to have long password? Okay, let's say PIN, personal identification number. Okay, let's say you want to unlock your phone. Your phone using 4-number PIN. The first is 0 to 9. Second, 0 to 9. Third, first, second, third, 0 to 9, and fourth, 0 to 9. So the number of possible combination is 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. About 10, 100, 100,000, 10,000 combination. It's quite huge, but remember, we can use computer to assign, to create any combination. By using a computer system, 10,000 possible combination is very small. Right? Okay. 8 character password require only 10 minutes to crack. So 4 means definitely less than 5. Okay? Random password mean we use combination. Instead of number, we can use, okay, alphabet. Okay, not only after alphabet, a combination of alphabet, capital and small. And then we can use any printable, character. The main reason is to provide very large base to create a password. So that not only we have about, for example, 10,000 combination, when we add more means we have more larger possible combination. That's one thing. Okay, and then the next is we can generate the password automatically. This is not suitable for user or human. This is more suitable for machine, right? We can use phrase instead of word, okay? Instead of alphabet, we can use a series of words, right? And then it has validity date. So every after period of time, we need to change our password. Okay. All right. We will stop after this. Okay. Password threat, brute force attack means we just do try and error. Okay. Although it's quite big for human being, but using computer system, we can cut it down. Okay, example, 8 of the character password, okay, can be cracked within less than 10 minutes using a computer system. Guessing. This is also called as dictionary attack. Okay, through survey. Okay, we always like to use whatever very dear to us. Example, your bike plate number, your car plate number, your ID, your of the girlfriend, boyfriend name, and so forth. So the attacker will build this information and use it. Okay, it a bit like brute force attack, but now you can consider it as a guidance brute force attack. Means the time taken to crack the password will be lesser. Keylogging is a spyware which record every single key press, and that information will be relayed to attacker computer system. All right, shoulder surfing, that's where someone look behind you and try to figure out what is the password. This normally always happen in front of the ATM. So you need to be careful. That's why there are some distance from the ATM user and the next client. Okay, social engineering. You've been tricked to reveal your password. All right, we will meet again at 11. Until then, thank you. And if you have any question, you can ask me in Telegram. Until then, thank you.
Thank you, sir.